National Nutrition Natural Health Reviews. 3 minutes of the latest naturopathic info with Canada's leading nutrition experts. Watch, learn, and get healthy naturally.
Hey there, Dr. Jonathan Beatty here, naturopathic doctor and a health expert at Nationalnutrition.ca. Many people suffer from a condition called Alzheimer's disease, and today I'm going to explain a few things that you can do to help prevent this condition from occurring. Alzheimer's disease is essentially a diagnosis of exclusion. What we do is we rule out all other causes of cognitive decline, and when they've all been ruled out, that's when we just associate it with Alzheimer's disease and treat accordingly. Symptoms are any level of cognitive decline, mostly characterized by a loss of short and long-term memory, but primarily short-term memory at first. And with people, what you see is sometimes difficulty remembering what they've had for breakfast, more dangerously forgetting or remembering to take their medication. And of course, also we see delays in cognitive processing speed, so how quickly they can process information and new ideas, and sometimes even loss of coordination. So it is quite a debilitating condition, and therefore it's very important that we do reduce your likelihood of developing it. Alzheimer's disease is produced by a certain level of inflammation in the brain. This inflammation causes a formation of something called a Dow tangle, where certain proteins in the brain get tangled up and can't perform their functions optimally. Another characteristic we see in Alzheimer's disease is insulin resistance. Basically, your body or your brain cannot listen to insulin appropriately, and the neurons in your brain starve because they're not able to uptake glucose, which they use as fuel. So what ends up happening is your brain becomes inflamed, it becomes starved, and that's what creates the series of symptoms that you see as, again, that loss of memory, loss of cognitive speed, and loss of coordination. So when you do have Alzheimer's disease, there are a few drugs out there that they use to try and manage the symptoms. More importantly, what I always look at is trying to change the brain's metabolism. So there are some studies that suggest that going ketogenic with your diet can actually help improve Alzheimer's disease. Ketogenic diets, though, can be dangerous. So if you do decide to pursue this method, please do it under medical supervision, as completely cutting out the carbohydrates in your diet can cause some problems and can make you feel quite sick at first. So it is something you definitely want to do with proper medical supervision. However, it can be very effective, especially for overcoming that insulin resistance. One of the things we often see in people that have Alzheimer's disease is improvements when they supplement with medium chain triglycerides, typically found in coconut oil. The reason behind that is coconut oil is very easily broken down for fuel. So instead of your brain trying to use glucose to fuel itself, it can actually break down and use coconut oil to fuel itself, which is very helpful. So that's one of the other ways that you can actually help to manage Alzheimer's disease. Now, more importantly though, is prevention. As I've said in many of my other videos, I'm a very big fan of the old saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. The reason behind that is, of course, once the disease develops, that disease has actually been there for a while, and you've got a significant amount of destruction to the neurons. If you have a family member that has the disease, or you think you may be prone to developing the disease, one of the biggest things I always try and stress with people is really increasing their antioxidant intake. The reason is that oxidative damage causes the inflammation of the brain that leads to the development of Alzheimer's disease. So, in lieu of waiting for symptoms to develop and trying to treat then, what I usually recommend is, take a nice, good, fat-soluble antioxidant to help stabilize the neurons. One of my favorites for this is astaxanthin. There's another one known as vinpocetine, which is an extract of periwinkle that's been shown to be quite effective at improving cognitive function, as well as removing the inflammation in the brain. So these things, astaxanthin and vinpocetine, are very, very effective at helping prevent cognitive decline. Additionally, I always supplement my patients with DHA. It's docosahexaenoic acid. It's one of the main fats found in the brain. In fact, it makes up about 22% of the brain, and so it's very important for brain structure, and it's what actually is oxidized and damaged when there is oxidative damage in the brain. So by supplementing with this DHA, it actually helps your body to replace the damaged fats in the brain and prevent the development of Alzheimer's disease. So if you know anybody suffering from that loss of memory, that loss of coordination, or again, loss of cognitive speed, they may be starting to show the early signs of Alzheimer's disease. It's a good idea to get evaluated to rule out other causes of cognitive decline. So if you learned a little something today, please check out more of our natural health videos, subscribe, and if you have any questions or comments, please post them below. And always remember, knowledge is health.